think. Bump that out. Watch here. Just gonna bump from LCB and then we'll be good to go. I can do it from I'm logged in on oh, maybe I'm not. I thought I was logged in on my Safari to LCB. Did you leave it out in the lobby? Sure. Gonna bring in some people, gonna post the streams. Post it on G as well. Oh, remind me, we're gonna have to change the title from episode 4 to whatever we're on now. I think we're gonna be on 10.
Did I put episode 4?
Yeah, we can switch to 10 later.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
You probably copied the title from
no,
one of the
I
previous.
didn't.
Really? That's interesting. Let's see. Live now, breaking down, drafting best TV shows. What's up, Eli? Play the Trill Queen as tribute. That clip was funny. I saw whoever posted that. That was a really good one.
Oh, we're starting a OnlyFans.
He texted me something funny this morning. What was it? He posted.
Has he been watching this?
The Queen stuff or the Lord of the Rings?
I know he's been watching the Queen stuff.
Something about what do you call it? He said something how he thought the show wasn't great off the first 2 episodes. I was like, that's all right. And I think he said something else about it later.
Wow, I always knew True Bonds was a racist.
Oh, we are sending back and forth the Camilla and Prince Charles sext voicemails, I guess, including this one.
Sunday night when I ate you.
Oh God, I fill up your tank. I need you several times a week. Yeah, like just imagining that inbred fucking weirdo just being like, oh, God, I fill up your tank. Like, who the fuck says that? I know it was like the 90s or whatever, but like, when was that ever a thing? Oh, and I also sent him this.
That was so funny. Going around yesterday. There was, I think, might be too early to call.
Yeah.
That was a top 10. I think that was easily a top 10 day on Twitter.
It was very funny.
Everything was just killing me.
Did you see Rockstar Games posted a tribute to her? Like, what the fuck?
I saw Funko Pops was a good one.
Oh, God.
Funko Pops did one.
Was it like an advertisement for their Funko?
Yeah, it was a Queen Elizabeth Funko. There was also, who else did one? A fake Garfield account made it look like Garfield tweeted out, which was very funny. It was like Garfield against Big Ben.
Yeah.
Shit. Let me see if I can find another one.
You know what I'd love to look at is the where is that thing?
Oh, someone posted 21 Savage. Just heard the news.
I forgot he's English. Yeah, yes. Wow. That's amazing. I completely forgot about that. Fucking British asshole. Yes, Kobe crossing up the
Kobe.
Queen in heaven.
Oh,
Girlfriend wants to watch Elvis tonight. Buckle up.
okay.
Buckle up if you want to sit your
Your
way
girl,
through Elvis.
your girlfriend wants to watch Elvis. Yeah, definitely watch it. She'll get all riled up from. I mean, girls weren't horny until Elvis came around. Is what the movie implies, that women just weren't into sex and didn't get horny until Elvis showed up and started wiggling his dick everywhere. He was the original TikToker.
I wonder if I can pull this up. This is another very funny thing I saw recently. The Patriot menu.
Oh my God. I cannot believe they actually did. That is.
Someone posted this. I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The first responder flatbread, the Freedom Flounder, 9/11 oysters, which like that's not even like a pun or anything. It's just like the oysters for 9/11. And the Never Forget sampler.
The flight number is on one of these. What is it?
Then what do you call it? The Never Forget sampler, 2 cups of 2977 chowder, the Flight 93 redirect crab dip, the first responder shrimp flatbread, the Freedom Flounder.
It looks like something we would have made.
2 slices of Pentagon pie. Oh. Pentagon pie is just like that's it looks gross.
Doesn't get better than that.
And what's the other one? The Remember Teeny. Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know. I just saw that yesterday and I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Anyway, today we're going to be breaking down Lord of the Rings, and we're going to be doing a draft of the best television shows from, we'll say, 2000 to present. And the only rules here really are that the majority of seasons has to have taken place during the 2000s. That's it. So like if it's Sopranos and starts in the 90s but finishes up most of its seasons.
Sopranos is just 100% a 2000 show. It started in 99, but that is the most 2000.
Exactly.
Show.
Yeah. Same thing with like SpongeBob started in 1998. Like that's a 2000 show.
Yeah,
like,
that is.
Sorry, say.
I didn't even think of it. I'm putting that on my list now.
It's disgusting.
This is what happens. We decide on the draft like 2 hours before, and I'm just throwing together a list. I'm like,
Family Guy, I think, was 98 as well, maybe 97, something.
Yeah, I would consider that. We'll get to it when we get to it. But
oh, you're gonna enjoy this medieval times.
Going to medieval. I've actually never been to a medieval times.
Neither have I.
It looks like fun. If I go, I want to do the whole. I want to dress up like a.
It looks like something that like you and me specifically would enjoy, like the fantasy element of it and all that stuff. It also reminds me of what do you call it? You ever watch the movie the Black Knight or just Black Knight?
Black Knight.
Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean that's a
that
classic.
Movie fucking rocks.
That movie's so funny.
And that movie's about like they have competing medieval times in that one, and that always cracked me up. That movie is sneakily hilarious. Like one of Martin Lawrence's best performances.
Yeah. That movie used to be on Comedy Central, just nonstop. Mm-hmm. It was one of those.
It was a really good one. You know who's in that?
Who else?
What the fuck is his first name? I forget. Something Wilkinson. The guy, he's like you'll know him the second you see him. He played whatever the mob boss in Batman Begins. He's like a British actor. Tom Wilkinson, I think is his name.
He plays Falcone.
This dude.
Oh yeah.
He's like an ultimate British face actor. Yeah, Tom Wilkinson. He was in that movie, and I didn't realize it because he looked so young in it. But it was just bizarre seeing him in that. A couple other people too, but like mostly obviously him.
Yeah, we should go to a medieval time. It'd be a really good piece of like. I'm surprised nobody at Barstool's ever gone to like a medieval event, like a medieval fair. I'm sure that would be like a great video.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. Never in the Barstool history.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So today we're doing the Lord of the Rings breakdown, and then that. So first up with Rings of Power, this last episode. Without going too deep into it off the first, we can do, I guess, spoiler-free thoughts off the top. Like, I thought this episode was the best of the 3 so far, and that might just be like because of the flash and substance of it, because like they introduced some stuff that like I've always loved in the Lord of the Rings world, but like I've never gotten to see in live action really, and I thought that was awesome. Some of the other storylines, which we were talking about this before. The Arondir storyline, which we weren't very high on, definitely took a big upswing, I would say, in this episode. Harfoot's still...
The Harfoots it's
a rough storyline.
If people want to complain about something with this show, it's definitely... I think it has to be the Harfoots at this point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, big lack of dwarves. And black dwarves.
Yeah, no dwarves and no... what do you call it? No Elrond, which is kind of nuts.
I didn't hate that there was no Elrond, I'll be honest. Just in the flow of the show. I liked... I liked how much time we spent with
Galadriel, yeah. And also the new bigger characters. So I guess now, if you haven't watched the episode, you don't want shit spoiled, you can move forward. I'd say
come back in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. For now, we're going to be breaking down some of the stuff we saw from the episode and like where that is, the place of it is in the Lord of the Rings universe. The biggest deal is that we get introduced to Numenor. Numenor is one of the coolest things. And we talked about this in the last episode a lot. And like that's just not something I ever considered us really getting to see a lot of. But Numenor it's awesome the way that they portrayed it. Like the
you tweeted out the shot of just like these establishing shots are
insane.
Just they're insane.
They're better than movie quality. Like that looks like think about the first thing that came to mind was like the establishing shot of like Wakanda, right? And like it was one of the Avengers movies, not Black Panther. Like that establishing shot where you're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then you see this and you're like, holy shit, like, this is
insane.
We're capable of doing this. But that shot was awesome. Numenor is very interesting. It's a little island between the Elven, like Middle Earth is here, Elven world is here, two different continents. Numenor is like right near the Elven continent. The elves gave it to the men that fought with them against Morgoth, along with like super long life and wisdom. If you watch the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, you might know that Aragorn was like 90 years old during the start of,
that always fucked with me.
Yeah, he's like super old in that episode, and like this is like where he spawned. He's a descendant of Numenorians. There's one guy we meet very early on, Ar-Pharazôn, who's the guy with the beard. So you see the guy who was with the Queen Regent, the dude with the beard, who just said like 2 lines or something during it. So that dude is the Queen Regent's uncle, right? And when the Queen's dad dies, he forcibly marries her to become king, marries his own niece. And at some point, Numenor is going to invade Mordor. They're going to invade Mordor and come up on Sauron's doorstep, and Sauron's going to be immediately just say like, I give up. Like you're too many. You have such a strong army. Like I can't do anything. But he like acts. He kind of plays into it and acts like, wow, Numenor really is the greatest force on earth. So they take him hostage, and he goes from like political prisoner of Ar-Pharazôn, and he eventually becomes like the chief political advisor through like corrupting this dude.
Gotcha.
So like
snake.
Yeah, he like corrupts this dude, and he basically convinces Pharazôn, who's like, you see how he's kind of like up there in years in a sense. Like even by Numenorian standards, he's getting up there. He wants to be immortal, and Sauron basically convinces him the only way to become immortal is to invade the continent of the elves. And he's like, that's the only way you're going to be able to become immortal is to do this. So they start like making this giant ass army again, and like I forget what they called it, like the grand armament or something like that. And they're going to go get in their ships and invade that continent. And all of a sudden, the basically like the huge god of Lord of the Rings, who's Eru, he sends this massive tidal wave and just wipes out the entire island, destroys everyone. And the only people that escape they're called the Faithful, which you meet a little bit of in like we know in.
So this is like Old Testament shit. Like, it is an Old Testament god basically.
Yeah. So like the only people that escape are the Faithful, which are led by Elendil, who we meet in this episode, and his sons, Isildur and Anarion, who you see Isildur in this episode, who's obviously huge in the Lord of the Rings world, as is Elendil. But you see a little bit, you hear his brother referenced in passing. So they flee to Middle Earth, and when they get to Middle Earth, they make the kingdoms of Gondor, which you're all familiar with if you've seen Lord of the Rings, and they make Arnor, which is like closer to where the hobbits were on the other side of the continent. And they eventually team up with the last alliance of men and elves, and they invade Mordor to defeat Sauron, Isildur, Anarion, and Gil-galad. So Gil-galad we met earlier. He's the big elf king that you saw early on. So they all die when they're fighting Sauron, which you see a little bit of in the beginning of Lord of the Rings when you do that little prequel bit. Like when you see Isildur get thrown off to the side, and then he goes, or not Isildur, Elendil get thrown off to the side, and then Isildur picks up his dad's broken sword and slices off Sauron's fingers. And I think in the actual books,
I don't think it happens like that, right?
Yeah, like they just actually kill Sauron or at least bring him down, and then Isildur just walks up and cuts the ring from his finger, so he doesn't have the power anymore. And so that's huge that we get to see Isildur and Elendil. Elendil also we're eventually going to see him get the sword that Aragorn uses later on.
That sword is so cool.
Cool ass sword. It's an awesome sword. I think Nick has it tattooed to his arm or something. We also learn that, like I predicted, Halbrand is going to be a royal. I said that so early. I was like, that dude is going to be a king.
Is he going to end up Nazgul though?
Yes, he is 100% going to be. That's not in like the books or anything like that, but like he's going to be in Nazgul. Like you could tell they're setting him up to like take back the Southlands. Southlands it's like a big chunk of southern Middle Earth that includes Mordor.
Yeah,
Mordor is like,
that's where Mordor is, right?
Yeah, Mordor is kind of green at this time. Like it's not this big, nasty, like destroyed landscape. It's a green. People live there. Like the town that you saw with the Arondir storyline, that's in Mordor, which I think is like
they haven't started using plastic straws yet.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Halbrand could be the Witch King. Yeah, I mean, very possible. But he would have. I forget the chronological order of how the Witch King goes from the Southlands to
the Witch King is the one that Eowyn kills, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But he would have to eventually go to Angmar and found that kingdom too. So like I don't know exactly how that worked. But yeah, he definitely could be the Witch King. I think he's definitely going to be in Nazgul without a doubt. But yeah, so there's a couple other things that happened in this episode, like where they were when the whole Arondir storyline, where they're with the orcs that are digging all that shit up. I think that they're basically making Mordor, and that they kind of implied.
Okay, I was wondering what the hell they were doing there.
Yeah, so like they're digging all these tunnels. That I think, and you see all like the sulfur above where they were. I think they were essentially trying to create Mordor out of this land.
Gotcha.
Which is now mostly green and shit like that. And Galadriel kind of confirms that when she goes and finds out that like the symbol, like Sauron's symbol, is like kind of like the pathway to get into Mordor for all the forces that survived. And it was like that contingency plan for just in case Morgoth died was to make their own world. That was kind of cool. The big question marks, I think, coming out of this episode was who Adar is, right?
Yeah, Adar. How are they chanting it? Adar.
It's not a great name to have a cadence for a chant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the big question is like who he is. So far, I think they pretty obviously set it up, right? Because they reference
to make it seem like
Sauron. I don't think it's going to be Sauron. I think it's going to be some sort of corrupted elf because Arondir does speak Elvish to him.
Who's Anatar?
So Anatar is what the name that Sauron uses to fool the elves into forging, including Celebrimbor, who we saw earlier, into forging.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to be him. I think it's too obvious, you know what I mean? And like the fact that they out loud said it, like when he was talking to his elf captain Arondir, like he was like, yeah, is that maybe that's Sauron? Like I don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be a separate dark elf of some sort. But it was too obvious. But overall, thought this episode was awesome. Had the best visuals so far out of the entire.
Very cool. The only complaint I had about the visuals, they went back to that slow-mo on the action.
Oh, on the fight, yeah.
I didn't really love that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, everything looked really cool. The warg looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Looked like a really just mean dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, it looks that the one thing no one can say about the show is it doesn't look good or it doesn't look like it costs the money it costs because it clearly they're getting their value out of it. I mean, it looks great. Like I said at the beginning, I really want I want like 70% of the show to be with Galadriel. I think that's about the ratio we got this episode is 70% of the show with Galadriel's storyline, Galadriel and Halbrand's. That's by far the most interesting and the most compelling character.
The Harfoot storyline is like so.
I don't hate
it's cool seeing their world, like they're a little more miniature spot, but like.
And I brought this up last episode. I just don't love the decision they made to go with young Harfoots. I think it would have been much more interesting to do like in The Hobbit, I mean, Bilbo is like 50, I think. So he's like lived a life and like, it's just, the dialogue is just better when you have, I mean, whenever you're dealing with children, it gets a little dicey.
And that guy's been useless so far, the Meteor Man. He hasn't really done much. He was just kind of like,
he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's a moron.
He's a fucking idiot.
Doesn't know what fire is. He like looked at he's looking at the chart, like let it go on fire. Like it was fucking weird. Yeah, I wouldn't say like that I'm done with the Harfoots because like I do think the mystery of the Meteor Man is compelling enough.
Yeah, like the Meteor Man's carrying that storyline.
Yeah, like other than that, it's just like they're as of right now such an insignificant part of this story compared to everything else that's happening. And obviously that's going to change. Like they didn't just put them in there for no reason, but like I want to get
to where it matters.
Yeah, and
7 minutes per. I think that's about right.
That's the sweet spot. Give us like a little tiny bit of more information about the Meteor Man every episode, whatever bits of dialogue you want to give the Harfoot, and then move on. Yeah, so that I think other than the Harfoot parts, this episode was awesome. Seeing Numenor on screen, I think is one of the coolest things I've seen in any Lord of the Rings live action.
Oh, I got a question. When Galadriel's riding the horse, the white horse,
Yeah.
is that who I think it is?
Could be Shadowfax, but I don't know if
I'm such a Shadowfax stan.
I don't know
I'm
if that
me
came
with my
from-
Kentucky sweater on. I'm a horse guy. I'm
Yeah.
a horse girl. I don't know. I love Shadowfax. He's so
Yeah.
fucking cool.
I'm gonna look up Shadowfax right now. I don't know if he's ever been on Numenor.
Shadowfax.
And that would mean
the
that's-
Lord of all horses.
Let's see. Shadowfax is a mighty horse of Rohan, so I don't think it
Ah,
would be
damn.
in Numenor. But
He is like an eternal horse. Like he's immortal, right?
it might be like an ancestor or
He's
one
like
of his
the god.
ancestors.
He's
might
like the
have been
horse god or whatever. Like not like a god, but like he is like literally like the king horse. Like he's the
Yeah.
goat.
I wonder if there is the famous steed of whatever king of Rohan was fuck, I don't know. And yeah, so I agree with what you're saying.
Secretariat versus Shadowfax.
Very, very much Elendil looks like Aragorn, but yeah, Isildur doesn't look like the newer Isildur, but I don't think that's a huge deal. Like, you know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
young Isildur doesn't really. He almost doesn't even look like he's part of the same family. His sister's very hot.
He looks like Greek, and then both his parents or his dad and his sister look like white English people.
Yeah.
Like, very, very different looking. Let's see, was Shadowfax ever in Numenor? Because I mean, the white horse thing is kind of like, I don't know. Did Gandalf the Grey have? Did Shadowfax go to Valinor? It looks like it, or at least a Toril. I don't know. I truly don't know, but I feel like it could be a related horse. But I think we'll find that out a little bit later on. But yeah, so that's Lord of the Rings. We'll talk about that more in the full SCB episode as well. I just think that the big thing to take away was just that like it was just so goddamn. It was good. It was a good episode, and like that. This is the one where you get to see that like the amount of money they put in this wasn't for nothing, because it was just fucking gorgeous. Like they zoom in, they do this big establishing shots of Numenor, and it just looks so goddamn good. All the armor and all like the extras and shit look great. Like,
I know.
oof.
I saw some people say they don't think it looks good. I don't know what they're talking about. The props, I think the prop department killed it.
Mhm.
Are we ruling out Halbrand and Sauron? I think you have to rule them out at this point.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really add up.
Yeah.
And I feel like Galadriel would immediately recognize him as Sauron.
He can manifest into other things. I think. At
Yeah,
this
but
point,
like even then, like he's such an evil being. I feel like she
Yeah.
would sense it.
he's I don't think anything really lines up for him to be Sauron, other than the fact that he is like supposed to be the king of Mordor. But even then, like that wouldn't really totally make sense, because like he's not going to unite men and turn them into orcs. Like orcs are made a different way. So like I don't think there's a way that would totally work out. I do think he's going to be and end up being a bad guy, but against his own will.
Why do you think they're keeping what's his name alive? The elf that survived. Like they
Which
keep
one?
keeping him alive.
Oh, Arondir?
Yeah, Arondir. Why are
They're-
they keeping him alive?
They're using them all as like slave labor, basically.
Yeah,
all
but
the
it feels
elves.
like you could just use anyone as slave labor.
But they wanted to bring him to Adar, and I don't know why. Maybe it's something about them both being elves.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
interested to see what the connection is there.
Yeah.
What his importance is in the story, because they clearly want one elf alive, or else they
Yeah.
would have just killed them all because they're such a threat.
Exactly. All right, we want to do
We'll do our draft.
a little TV draft.
Yeah,
I
you want
mean-
to talk about She-Hulk? No,
I think
I haven't watched the episode yet. So
I will say I think this was the best episode of She-Hulk.
yeah, I heard
for
that.
whatever that's
I
worth.
heard that this is the best one.
Yeah, it was pretty damn funny. For whatever that's worth. And the new character they introduced, Madison, was, I thought, pretty funny in the small dose that we got of her. Could be keeping him for a ritual, maybe. Could be
There we go.
keeping him to turn him into or corrupt him into something else. That
Yeah.
big Sauron thing is to capture elves and men and then corrupt them and then throw them back out into the world and then let them, like, they'll still be under his command, but like they don't really realize it. Last episode of She-Hulk was it.
I'll definitely go home and watch it today. I had plans to get incredibly high later, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. That'll be good. I watched it. There's
Yeah.
some there's 2 or 3 laugh out loud moments, and part of them come from this like the whole thing where
I want it to be good, just so
Yeah.
people know. I do want the show to be good.
the magicians in it are very funny. I love anything that makes fun of magicians. Just they're a funny group of people to me. All right, so let's do this draft. Again, this draft, we're drafting the best TV shows, and the only qualifier is that a majority of episodes take place during the 2000s. That's it. Doesn't need to start in the past 2000 or anything like that. It can start in the late 90s, just as long as most of the episodes are in the 2000s. I think I had last pick last time, so I'll give you first pick this time.
Okay. All right. Let me pull up my list. Letting the notes app refresh. There we go. All right. So 1-1. I think this is an easy pick.
Yes.
So it's maybe not easy, but I think a lot of people would agree with me on this, and it's The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Just a fucking banger of a show. And not just a banger of a show, like it redefined television. I think Oz was probably first in terms of
Oz was too ahead of its time. It was
almost
people weren't
too
ready for it.
Yeah, in terms of like showing just graphic brutality and like just going dark places on television. But Sopranos picked up that baton and took it to places where Oz just didn't get to. It's just the acting performances. Rest in peace, James Gandolfini. So fucking good. I mean, so fucking good. My favorite bits throughout I don't know if this is a hot take, but it's just him and what's her face? Elfie. What's her name? Melfi.
Oh, Jennifer Melfi. Yeah.
The psychiatrist. Yeah. Those scenes are just so good. It's such a dichotomy between his life and just like really just a guy and like just dealing with shit. I love it. And it's just so memeable, quotable. I actually hadn't watched it until COVID started.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never watched it. And then that was like the first thing like I did when like I was like, all right, gonna be at home, gonna have a lot of time. I'm gonna start watching this shit. So yeah, Sopranos 1-1.
All right. For me, I think it's a little bit more. Yeah, Sopranos did have this is a good point. Sopranos did have a big shout out in the She-Hulk.
Oh, did they?
Huge reference.
Oh, that's funny.
A couple references in it.
Who's your favorite Sopranos character?
My favorite Sopranos character. I think it's easier to ask what's your favorite Sopranos character not named Tony. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Tony is just so great.
I feel like the character.
By the way, I'm not a big Funko Pop person, but Funko Pop did drop a Sopranos line like 2 weeks ago, and one of them is just Tony with his ducks.
Yep.
I really want to get it.
It's weird because like Christopher probably had the best combination of both like depth and humor.
Yeah, I like Christopher. Christopher is so great, especially when the episode where he meets John Favreau.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh
so
my God.
Funny.
It's so goddamn funny. This is fun. Yeah. People who think like the back and forth with the psychiatrist, like if you don't like those, I think you're crazy. Yeah, not just a shout out, just straight spoilers for the show. That's also true. But also the show ended in like 2005. So
they're talking about they spoiled like the ending, like the cut to black.
No, they spoil bits from the show.
The show's been out so long.
Yeah,
so long, and it's such a big show, and it's like a show that gets referenced like plot points nonstop. Like even if I hadn't even seen the show, I knew a lot of the major plot points before like getting into it. And it's still, I don't really care that much about spoilers. So I didn't care, but I don't think it'd affect your viewing. Like if you haven't watched it yet, just go watch The Sopranos. It's so good.
Paulie Walnuts would be the only character I would struggle with, like trying to pick over Christopher. But Paulie Walnuts he's not one dimensional, but he is definitely more of the comic relief.
Yes, he's 100% the comic.
Yeah. And like Christopher definitely got to go a little bit more in both directions than Paulie ever did. How do you merge layers and sheets? Am I stupid? Or merge cells? It's this, right? Yeah. Okay. Best TV shows.
Control V. Or what's the VLOOKUP?
VLOOK. I don't know how to do those tables or anything like that. Yeah, like the interior decorator episode, for specifically, the Pine Barrens episode is so funny.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, when
the
they're
back and forth between those two, eating ketchup packets or whatever, which is so funny because it is like that Stephen Shea story from the last episode of The Bracket, where he said he ate mustard packets in between. He put mustard in between peppermint patties.
I don't know why he did that. Why would he not just eat the peppermint patties?
It was bad. Okay, for my picks, this is where it gets a little bit dicier, I think. They're not really dicey. Like there's still some
dicey. I think you just get very like the top 10 or I'd say my top 8. I could go anywhere at this point. And it's really just going to be a matter of like thinking about what you're going to take.
I'm going to go with Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Breaking Bad.
We're going to count that. All right.
Yeah.
That started in what, 07?
Yeah. So like we can go full to present.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's not limited to 2000 to 2009. It can go all 2000s.
Number 2 on my list.
Yeah. So Breaking Bad, I think is an obvious top pick. Buddy, is Sopranos worth binging?
Hold on. So this is where like, all right, so everyone has been giving Chris shit for have never watched Game of Thrones. I'd never watched Breaking Bad. I'm actually working through it right now. I'm like just started season 4. It's been my nice little treat. It's
season 4.
I told you last week I'm watching a show and I didn't want to tell people what it is because I don't want the spoilers. That's a show where I really don't know what happens at the end, and I don't really know a lot of the major plot points. So at this point, I'm going in blind. I tried to watch season 1 like 5 different times, and I just fucking hated every character. So I keep giving up, and I finally pushed through, and I got to the season 2, and that's when shit really started to get good for me. And season 3 was fucking incredible. I'm on a tear right now. It's so good, and I haven't even finished it, and I have it as my number 2 show. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and it closes out really well. Most of these really good shows, they struggle to finish. They putter out. They go a season longer than they have to. Breaking Bad's ending, in my opinion, was perfect, which is why I always just never really understood the El Camino thing. But I was happy to get more.
And yeah, Avery, watch Sopranos is a great binge. It is a good binge.
You love Breaking Bad, but you don't watch Sopranos. They're very good shows in different ways. They're both great dramas, but they're very good and very.
I'd say you like it. I'd say you like it just as much, honestly, because it's very similar main character where it's a guy just trying to do best for his family, dealing with the darkness of having to go bad places.
I think for this case, it's we'll talk about Better Call Saul later. Let's just leave
I love Saul as a character, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch that after I finish Breaking Bad.
Bob Odenkirk in anything is amazing.
That's what got me on the Breaking Bad, because I was like, damn, I really want to watch Better Call Saul, but I haven't seen Breaking Bad, so
all right. For
wouldn't make much sense.
For my back-to-back, I will loop it with, let's do It's Always Sunny. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I thought you would do that.
It's Always Sunny is, I think, in my opinion, it is what people in the 90s thought of Seinfeld. This is what It's Always Sunny is that for me. That is the definition. That is the comedic show to watch. I think not only just I think they started in 2005, 2005 to 10. It is every single season. They have found new ways to be funny. And you could argue, yeah, there's some bad episodes here and there. It is consistently very, very top tier funny. And I truly, truly love that show and think that it's not underappreciated. People love it and they know it and all that stuff. But I don't think people appreciate how fucking good it has been for this consistently long, which is nearly impossible.
I haven't been watching the recent seasons, but it's such a good show, and Seinfeld's a great comparison where you can just throw on an episode. You can pick a random episode from any season, just throw it on, and it just fucking plays. You don't have to be into a
context.
Story. No context. You need no storylines. You don't need to know what's going on. Just throw it on. It's fucking amazing. I mean, there's some running bits that stay as through lines throughout, Charlie being illiterate, just such a fucking.
It's such a good one.
Mac being gay now, very funny.
That was such a long-winded bit too. That was with a great payoff. They've been playing that up since season 2, and it didn't reveal until season 10.
Yeah, the Suburbs is such a great episode.
Yeah, the Suburbs episode is one of the funniest episodes I've ever seen. And the Hit the Slopes one with the what do you call it? The creepy ski guy from the 80s is very funny as well. Boardwalk Empire. We'll talk more about Boardwalk Empire later, I think. Boardwalk Empire, one of the most slept on HBO shows there is. It is
actually never watched it. My sister is big on Boardwalk, but I haven't watched it before.
It is phenomenal. Steve Buscemi is unreal in it. Also, the guy who they have play Al Capone in it is the best Al Capone I've ever seen. And not even that, he's just a great actor. Stephen Graham, he is an incredibly good actor. And yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about what
slow regression and Jimmy Crick.
Yeah.
Played by what's his face too, Jimmy. What's his name? He was great in Westworld. Fucking can't remember his name, but he's a great actor.
Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah, Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah, Jimmy Simpson, who's in great dramatic stuff.
So he was so good in Westworld.
Both the McPoyle brothers were absolutely hysterical. Okay, so you're back up and you get back to back.
All right, let's see here. God, I mean, this is such a great era for television. It's almost how people talk about the 70s as the turning point in film.
Mm-hmm.
This is the turning point in television. Is the 2000s.
So many good ones.
I'm gonna go Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great comedy shows you could go here. I'm gonna go Arrested. I think and I really don't count season 4 or season 5 because I think they're really bad. But the first 3 seasons, it's the hardest I've laughed at anything. In terms of sitcoms, I mean, it's just, you want to talk about a show with running bits. That show does running bits better than anybody else.
Banana Stand is maybe the best ever. It is so good.
Banana Stand, Her, with Anne.
Yeah,
just so good. Everyone in that show is so good at what Tobias Funke, love it. Maybe the mate, you shouldn't laugh at what's his face, loving it. George Michael having a crush on his cousin, but it's so fucking funny the way they play it. It's so funny.
She's sitting on his lap in the car.
Yeah.
And Michael Cera was that's his big break. He was so perfect for that. It's just like he became that role for the rest of like his like next 10 years.
You want to talk about magicians being funny? I mean,
Yeah.
Job.
Yes, Job. Will Arnett is so good in that.
Bringing in Amy Poehler too when they were still married.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a show where like sound bits always show up on my timeline on TikTok. People use those sounds. What does he say? You're in love with your own brother-in-law, the one in the army.
Yep. But Buster too. That's one of our interviews. What's his fuck's name? Tony Hale.
Tony Hale, yeah.
So good.
You guys have interviewed him like 3 times now, right?
Twice, I think. Once was for 9 days, and I forget what the other one was for. Was it Toy Story?
I think it was an animated. Yeah.
Toy Story 4 when he played Forky or Sporky, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a phenomenal pick. That's a show I could watch a trillion times over.
All right.
The scene with the guy getting his arm blown off or whatever.
And that's why he always. What does he say?
It's like a different thing.
Put the
every
milk
time.
in the fridge.
Put the milk in the fridge or something. Yeah.
God. See, now I'm just thinking about the funny, like when he converts to Judaism.
Yes.
In prison, he converts to Judaism.
It's a damn shame.
Oh my God.
Jeffrey Tambor had to do what Jeffrey Tambor did because he did have great comedic delivery.
Oh my God.
He is so funny.
All right. I'm trying to see if I want to keep going. There's so many good comedies. I'm gonna go. This is a normie pick, but The Office.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going The Office. The Office is as much as the fandom, and the fandom's died down a little bit. Not as annoying as they used to be online, but goddamn, that show is so funny. Season 1 is a bit rocky to get through because they're going pretty much beat for beat from the UK version. But once you get into season 2, it's just, 4 straight seasons of just hilarity. So good. So good. Jim sucks. Jim and Pam suck. I think getting older is realizing that those two just stink. Especially when you work in an office setting, I'd fucking hate these people.
I despise them. It literally happened with Florence Pugh. That is the sort of thing. Like if you imagine Jim Halpert as Harry Styles and I guess Pam as Olivia Wilde.
You feel bad? Roy was definitely a fucking asshole.
Which Jason Sudeikis is too, by all accounts. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the show is just great. There's a reason why it has the fandom it does. It's just, it's great. Michael Scott is one of the best characters in television history. He's so funny. He is so fucking funny.
And his complete character shift too from that first season into the other seasons it's very stark when you watch it back.
Genius. Those writers were genius. And I love the way they did it, where they just took writers and costume designers. Phyllis was the costume designer, right? And they just stuck her on the show. BJ Novak and Mindy Kaling, obviously two of the writers, and they just wrote themselves onto the show.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. And it helped a lot of their careers.
Okay. What am I going to do with this? And The Office is a show, by the way. I know everyone always tries to think we despise The Office. Just the fandom has always been...
The fandom's always been the issue. The show is very funny.
Never the show.
There's literally no way around it. The show is just fucking hilarious.
All right. For my next 2, I'll start with Chappelle Show.
Yep. See, that was the one I was going. I was between The Office and Chappelle Show.
Yeah, Chappelle Show.
I went with longevity on that one.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's exactly what you're saying. There's only 4 seasons of Chappelle Show, but the consolidated punch of every one of those episodes is so good, and it's just they're absolutely hilarious. There's a million different sketches you can think of, and I know all you fucking guys like me, you're just a schlubby white dude in wherever Eastern Seaboard coast. You're going I'm Rick James, bitch. You all were quoting this shit nonstop. You know what I mean?
5 fingers say to the face?
Yes.
Slap.
You were doing all of this shit, and because it was so goddamn funny. And that's one of those things where more than almost any other show from that early 2000s era really holds up. You will go back and watch those ones. You're still laughing.
That humor does not go anywhere. What's your favorite skit? Is it Rick James?
I think all the Charlie Murphy stories are so funny.
His delivery is so funny.
The Prince story, the Rick James story, combine all of those.
He called me darkness.
Yeah. He kept posting me up with I forget what he called a fruit
hit him with
or something.
Ow.
Yeah. We start beating on his legs.
Oh my God.
They should have never given you money.
When they're beating on his legs on the couch.
And he crawls his way out. It is.
Oh my God.
Man, dude.
My favorite's the racial draft.
Yeah, racial draft is really
with Bill
good.
Burr too.
Yeah.
Who's on the some reason Bill Burr was just good friends with Chappelle.
Yeah.
So funny.
That was a
They're
really
trying
good
to-
one.
They trapped
Was it Tiger
the
Woods?
blacks and the Chinese were trying to draft Tiger Woods.
Yeah, the Tiger Woods bit. That was so good.
Oh my god.
Well, they had another really funny one. Like one of them rejected the
What does
draft
he
or
say?
something.
Goodbye, fried rice. Hello, fried chicken.
Yes, that was it. It was. Oh man.
Oh my god. So
The
funny.
trading. The what do you call it? Trading places one with the wife skit.
Good Lord.
He's like holding up the vibrator. He's like, "What's this? A lightsaber?" And the white husband is like,
yeah, I have
"Can
that
you turn off the R&B music? I want to
Yeah.
hear you breathing." It is so fucking funny, man. That's a
Jesus.
show I can rewatch any day of the week. For my next pick, I want to go with a more modern-ish show. Fuck, I can't pick that.
Buffy would definitely count. I don't think I'm gonna draft Buffy, but Buffy.
Yeah, Buffy for sure counts.
I love Buffy.
I think I'll do another great HBO show here with The Wire.
Okay, a show I actually have not seen.
Yeah, The Wire.
I've never even tried to start it yet. It's just one of those that's just been on the back burner forever for me.
The Wire is, I think, 5 seasons. 2 of them, specifically one of them, is not particularly good, but it is so carried by the rest of those seasons. Like the season 1, 3, and 4, I think, are amazing. So good. And like the acting in it, the realness of it all, like it is incredible.
Yeah, quick plug also. A show I haven't watched, but Kid Jack's interview with Michael K. Williamson just a few months before his passing.
Mhm.
Well, I think top 3 interview we've ever done. I mean, he was so
Real, man.
I mean, he was just emotional. His story about Obama saying Omar was his favorite character on television, like the pressure he felt after that is like, I mean, that's deep. He was a great interview.
He was an awesome one. Trying to think.
Idris Elba on there.
Stringer Bell was like the ultimate bozo. Like he looked so cool, and he made you think he was smart. He was just a big dumbass. He was like maybe the dumbest character on the show.
I think who else? Michael B. Jordan came off that show. Good Lord. Yeah, great series. I can't wait to watch it one day. It's just one of those shows where it just gets put on the back burner. Especially, I mean, there's just so much television, and it spun out of the early 2000s where people realized what television could be.
Mm-hmm. And that was one where that if that show was on any other network than HBO, it would have sucked. Like HBO was the perfect venue for making that work. And man, it was just incredible stuff. All right, you're back up and you get back to back.
All right. Ooh. See, there's just so many good comedies, and I have to go comedy again. I'm going South Park. I consider it a 2000s show. Premiered in what, like 98, 99. And I think I think it's gotten a lot better recently. I think it went through a little bit of a lull, but the last 2, especially during the Trump presidency, I think they got a little caught up in that. But that show, the first 10 seasons are so funny. Another show where the fandom stinks.
Yeah.
They're the Spencers.
Like literally.
They're literally the Spencers. Spencer's Gifts, Hot Topic fandom.
They literally stinks. They smell.
Yes, they actually do smell. But that show is so funny. God, and it's just, they're so smart. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I mean, they're geniuses. There's a reason they got $1 billion contract to produce content for CBS. I mean, they're so good, and they just find the way they can take a topic and turn it around in a week and make something funny from it. And they're the genius of recognizing that your audience is aging and just veering away from the kids, not too much, but veering away from them and turning Randy Marsh into the main character was just so genius.
Smart.
Like Randy was just a nobody character until like season 8. Like he was like a meteorologist, I think, at first, and then they like made him something else after I think he fucking like ruined the town. And there's so many, like the World of Warcraft episode, I think is
one of the funniest things ever made.
Yeah, I think it's just so good.
Lord of the Rings episode is also very
Lord of the
funny.
Rings episode is very good. The Coon,
the Osimo,
it's
very good.
I love that series.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to say I'm like in that fandom.
Yeah.
But I do really love that show. And then next up, I'm gonna go Scrubs because I don't want you to take it. I know you're a big Scrubs guy too.
I love Scrubs. Yeah. It's like you, me, and Brandon Walker are the biggest Scrubs defenders for whatever reason.
I don't understand Brandon. Brandon feels like he's way too old for that show.
Yeah, I know, right?
But Scrubs is actually the first show I ever had on DVD. I had all the box sets of it.
I had one of the seasons on box set. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a show I'd watch. It's a very rewatchable, easy, one of the great background shows where you can just throw it on the background and just look up and it's funny. One of the better ways I've ever heard it described. It's like a live action Family Guy for people who can read above a 5th grade level.
Kind of, yeah.
Because they not only do just great comedy, they do some great storylines.
Really good drama. The Brendan Fraser guest star.
Yeah,
holy shit.
His guest star is, I mean, it's crushing.
Yeah.
When he's drinking I used to have that as my Twitter header very early in the Twitter days. Was him in the bathtub drinking the Budweisers.
The episode where they lose all the patients and they play the fray, that one crushed me too.
Oh yeah. What do they die of? They die of something weird.
They gave all these organs
rabies?
to people, and how the organs had rabies. They didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it was the lady who plays like Jerry Stiller, or Jerry Stiller. Jerry Stiller's like caretaker from King of Queens. She was on like Mad TV too. It was like a blonde lady.
Okay.
Like her organs were all had rabies, but they didn't know it at the time. But that episode, I remember like I liked the Fray, especially around then. That's where they were hot, and like that episode crushed me. That was a tough
better
one.
use of a Fray in a medical drama. What's the Grey's Anatomy? Yeah. When she died.
Holy shit, dude. My girlfriend's been rewatching it. Grey's
My
Anatomy.
sister was huge on Grey's, so I had to watch a lot of Grey's growing up.
It's so bad.
It's a bad show.
It's a really bad show. Like top to bottom, truly a stinker. Like everything about it is bad. The acting, not great. And when you think about it specifically, the fact that Ellen Pompeo, right? Am I fucking that up?
The woman who wrote the show?
No, that's Shonda Rhimes. Who plays Grey is
what's her name?
Whatever, Pompeo. She gets paid like what, $20 million an episode or something insane like that.
Yes.
And she is not good.
Not good.
Patrick Dempsey, not good.
Sandra Oh, fantastic actress. I just watched the first 2 seasons of Killing Eve, and I'm calling it quits after that because I hear it stinks afterwards. But she's so good. Very hot too.
Yeah. The what do you call it?
Ellen Pompeo.
There's so many weird things about the show. The show overall, though, the biggest thing about it is that it's the most pro-grooming show ever made. Like
really?
Within the first, like by the halfway point of the first season, right? All the main characters are in relationships with people who are their superiors at the hospital. Oh
yeah.
Sandra Oh is with Burke, who's like the head of cardio, whatever. Gray is with Dr. Shepard. What's his name? O'Malley is with Dr. Torres, and I'm missing one. Katherine Heigl. Oh no, she was dating the dead guy, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So maybe not her, but the rest of them were all fucking their superiors, which is wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, workplace relationships are just not appropriate.
It's insane. And then when they get like promoted to regular doctor, they start dating below. So like it's just like it's the most pro groomer show ever made. And like there's so many things that would have gotten this hospital. Like there's a bomb that went off in the hospital, and they act like nothing happened. And that was Kyle Chandler. He's like a bomb squad guy. They pull a bazooka round out of a dude's stomach. He's walking away with like it was probably the Fray playing, and he's fucking blows up. And they're just like, nobody in the hospital reacts.
From what I understand, very medically inaccurate. And I hear that Scrubs apparently is the most medically accurate. Like
which is surprising. Yeah.
I think they did a survey. I think it was like early 2010s of like because this is when medical dramas were really popping. Yeah. And they're like, what they like pulled doctors and they're like, what is the most accurate? And I think Scrubs actually came out on top. So Scrubs.
It wasn't House where Dr. House would like walk in the room and be like,
I hate that House is a Sherlock adaptation. I really hate that. I don't know why it bothers me, but it's just not. It shouldn't count.
The plane crash episodes. Oh yeah, there's an episode where they have like a big plane crash and like half the characters die, and then she meets like Dr. Shepard in the afterlife or some shit. It's fucking crazy. But House, the scene where he walks in the room, insults the patient, insults all the doctors, and then it's just like, yeah, I bet you never checked his ass for ass rabies. And they're like, wow, it's ass rabies. How did you know that, Dr. House? And he's just like, I have lupus, and leaves the room. And like that's every episode of House down to a T. All right, so for my next two, I think I will go with, and this is where it gets a little bit harder. I'll do Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay, great pick. I wasn't gonna draft it because I'm not the biggest Curb fan.
Mm-hmm.
I do respect it, and I do think that it has all-time bits, but I do think it misses on some. But I definitely respect this pick.
I think it's super consistent across seasons, which is surprising, especially after the break. And there's so many great bits throughout it. Larry David is one of the funniest.
Larry David is just so fucking funny.
That's one of those things. Like I tried watching I never watched Seinfeld until I started watching it when it came on Netflix,
really?
Like 2 years ago or something like that. I never did it because I watched Curb, and I was just like, I'll finish Curb and then I'll do Seinfeld or whatever. And it wasn't in like streaming was around really around that. I was just watching Curb on HBO, and like I wasn't watching syndication on NBC or whatever.
I think it's syndicated on TBS actually.
Yeah, like I wasn't watching the syndication, so I tried watching it, but it's just like I watched that after watching Curb, and Curb, in my opinion, is just like it's better than the humor delivered. It's like very similar, but like the humor in Curb is just way funnier to me, for whatever that's worth. And I know Curb is like or rather Seinfeld is like a sort of legendary show, and it's like people like to disparage it. It's not disparaging it. It's still a phenomenal show. It's just like it's not as funny to me as Curb.
My favorite Curb is easily the Survivor dinner.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I love the Survivor. I think it's so funny.
Yep.
I was on an island. I didn't have a phone.
That's a real good one.
Oh my god.
I'll back to back Curb with Veep. Another HBO show. Veep, I think, also very much like Curb, is like very, very consistent. I would say actually more consistent throughout all the seasons.
Is Veep 2000s?
Veep's 2000s.
When did it premiere?
It's definitely not in the 90s, if that's what you mean.
No, but Veep, I thought it was like 2010.
It might be, but again, we can do 2010 shows.
Oh, we can do 2010 shows?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
This is 2000 to present.
Oh, I thought we were just doing 2000 to 2010.
I'll let you know, Nadu, we did talk about Boardwalk Empire earlier. I think it's one of the most slept on shows in HBO, and it's, again, you guys heard me say before, Stephen Graham plays the best ever Al Capone, in my opinion. But yeah, Veep, I think, is super, super consistent. Selena Meyer is one of the funniest characters. All the side characters too, like Jonah Ryan. We've interviewed him before. I forget the actor's name off the top of my head.
That's
Tim something.
Timothy
Tim
Simons.
Simons. He is so fucking funny. So many great actors throughout this movie. Just really dry, good delivery. Also a show that ended perfectly and at the right time, which is, again, so rare in television. All right. After I have Veep now, you're back up.
Give me 1 second. I got to make sure I'm not missing any. I don't think I'm missing anything for the 2010s, but I got to make sure I didn't miss something.
You still have a phenomenal list.
Yeah. Oh, because it's like, I mean, this is, like I said, like television just really we got lucky growing up when we did.
Yep.
I'll be honest. People like to shit on movies a lot that came on. Yeah. I mean,
all-time line from Jonah Ryan: "Eating so much pussy, I'm shitting clits, son."
Just, it's like one of the, I'll post that clip. I'll post not just that clip, but I'll post like the, just like the video, just like the best insults from Veep. That show had so many good ones. Like the way they talk to each other is just so, it's like Aaron Sorkin writing humor. It's so sharp and fast, and like the insults and the jokes are flying at a fucking 100 miles per hour. All right, I'm just gonna go back to my list because the internet in here sucks. All right,
here, I'm gonna send you, because I've been going off of the tier that I made a while back, and that's like, I think, a good baseline sort of to work off of. Yeah, so and I will say, I was always under the impression that we were doing 2000 to present, because I did it based off of this one tier I did this one time, and because I thought that was a lot of fun. I definitely did not make it clear enough, but I still think that both of us have phenomenal lists.
I'm gonna take Burn Notice before you can.
Burn Notice actually, I think, was in the 2000s. I think that probably started in like 2008, 2007 or something, maybe even earlier. Damn. But yeah, I think both of us still have a phenomenal list, even with the different criteria or whatever.
Someone put Big Mouth on this list. Jesus Christ, this list must stink.
Yeah.
I saw someone tweet out that Nick Kroll should be arrested for Big Mouth.
It is insane how he is involved in this entire "Don't Worry, Darling" controversy. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's
like
just
the most out of place person.
So out of place.
It's just like the dude that voices like whatever that character's name in Big Mouth, just in making out with Harry Styles in Venice.
This list might not suck. They put "Don't Trust the Bee" in Apartment 23 on it.
It's a solid one
with that. I love Kristen Ritter.
Here, check the one I texted you one. I think that'll be an easier one to sift through than the scroll through ones where they're like, here's 50 lines of text and then
I don't need your breakdown of it, man.
That's like my all-time number one pet peeve is when I look up a recipe and I need to scroll down like an endless amount, like a mile of scrolling to find the actual recipe. It's like, this is a pie that I made my grandma one time, and she taught me how to do XYZ. And then we did this, and we did this, we did this, size 55 font, and just going down, scrolling, just to finally get to the recipe. And oh yeah, this recipe is for a serving size of 200 for whatever reason.
Rolling Stones ass take. They put Fleabag at 5. Show's fine, but
good show.
Christ.
Too short.
Yeah, that's just absurd take. All right. Since we can do 2010s, and this might be controversial, because of the way it ended, I'm going Thrones.
That's not a bad pick at all.
You're just gonna type my name. Yeah, Thrones. Despite those final 2 seasons,
still an elite show without a doubt.
It's so like it really cannot be understated how much of an event watching that show weekly was. The lead up into the seasons, the theorizing, it just was incredible. It's another show like The Sopranos where it really reset the bar of what television could be. And you're seeing it now. I mean, House of Dragon is just, I mean, a beat for beat ripoff from like the early seasons, but no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck that it's basically a beat for beat ripoff from the early seasons because Thrones is that good. Thrones is so fucking good. My favorite character, it's a normie take. I love Jon Snow. I don't think he's
the one you're supposed to root for.
We've talked about it before. I don't think he's a great actor, but he's great in that role. He's so good in that role.
I rewatched 7 Days in Hell last night after we were talking about it.
He
is so fucking funny. Kit Harington in that.
Do more comedy because that was so that. You guys, we were talking about because of the Queen dying yesterday. R.I.P. Kind of. I stand with the Irish. But they did the bit. If you haven't seen 7 Days in Hell, it's just a mockumentary of a tennis play. Like it's not real, but it's Andy Samberg and Kit Harington playing tennis, and Kit Harington is so fucking funny in it. And the Queen is leaving voicemails for him, and she's like, "Listen up, you stupid fucknut. If you don't get up," she's like, "You're disappointing your country." He'll just like his faces are so funny when he's listening to the voicemail. He just gets up indubitably. It's getting off topic, but like we were talking about yesterday, it's so funny.
The scene where they're in the middle of the match and he's really tired, and Andy Samberg
is doing cocaine.
He's doing cocaine throughout the entire thing.
It's on the lines on the court. He's got it in his
he's got tennis racket.
Yeah, he's taking it out.
He like just has an orgy with like 2
Serena's
streakers.
Pretty funny in it.
Serena has good delivery in that, yeah. Because the whole Andy Samberg's character is a white kid that was left up for adoption, and Richard Williams adopted him. And it's Serena Williams is like, yeah, it was really pretty incredible what my dad did. He took a white kid and taught him to play tennis. And it's just like it's a really funny mockumentary if you ever have time. It's pretty short too, which is nice.
Yeah, that and then Tour de Pharmacy is also really not as funny, but also very funny with Orlando Bloom and John Cena.
The guy he's talking about, that's Martin Sheen, I believe. That's who you're talking about. That guy is a very good actor. The talk show, the guy who was like a pedophile. And he's just like,
makes him lift up his shirt.
Off your shirt. Yeah. And then he's just like, sitting there, just like smoking a cigarette, and he's just like, Cracker Jack. And it's really good. Definitely highly recommend.
Mary Steenburgen, I think that's her name, right?
Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, plays his mom, and she's just an absolute psychopath.
Yep. After the end of it, when they die, she's like, I would have liked to know my son more, but he was just so obsessed with tennis. It's just such.
They do the animation of him escaping prison.
Yeah,
the worst animation.
Dick like flinging everywhere. They're in the middle of an all-male orgy in Sweden, and then they say, like, according to Sweden's laws, if you escape the prison, you are free to go.
All right, yeah. So Thrones, and I have another pick. All right, I think that knocks out. I don't think I'm going to pick anything else from the 2010s. I'm going to go. This is a douchey pick, but I got to go Entourage. I fucking love Entourage. A dumbass show. No doubt.
Am I spelling it wrong? I always spell it wrong.
It's got a U after the O. That's how Entourage fans would spell it, to be honest.
Yes. I always spell it wrong.
Spell it Ontorage. Entourage. So, I mean, like, it's the same episode. Like, it's the same. Trill and Coley, Mixtape was still alive, used to make fun of it. They had a great bit on it where it's just like, damn, I don't want to do the show. Talking to Art. He's not going to fucking do it. Shut up, pizza boy. Lloyd. And then he just goes back to Vinny, you got to do it. Okay, fine, I'll do it. And it's like, oh, yeah. It's just
every time.
It's just the same episode right now. I mean, every single time. It's so funny.
It is exactly the same every time. I think it is honestly shocking that it still worked out every single time, though.
I want him to bring it back too. I think people like you can't do it again because like everyone's got like access to We don't have access. Like we see like curated social media posts. It would still play if they brought it back. I think it would still be very funny. Obviously, pick a new group of guys, but it's just so fucking funny. It's so stupid. It's just so dumb.
Yeah,
and you just sit there and you watch it with your friends, and you're like, oh man. We would do the same shit. Yeah.
This is true. Very Dudes Rock show. If there was ever a Dudes Rock show, it is this. Like, it is the ultimate.
The cameos are great.
Mark Wahlberg showing up
Bob
for 5 minutes.
Saget,
Bob Saget.
the Matt Damon cameo
Yeah.
when he keeps trying to get Vinny to like the end credit when he's like cussing out Vinny. He's like, "You don't care about the earth."
Yep. The one of the funniest things too is like the actual actor Adrian Grenier is like the antithesis of that character. Like when you ever see him post, we post that one picture. It's like him, a selfie of him on like a cliff face or something, and he's like, "Yeah, just sorry, I've been posting lately. Just been taking up, living it up in the moment." And it's just like that's just the opposite of what Vinny Chase would be doing. And anything with Johnny Drama was always very good. I think that's a solid pick. Might have been able to get it later.
I don't hate the movie either, to be honest.
I didn't
hate it.
I didn't care too much for the movie.
I really don't hate it. I don't think it's great, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. All right. So what do we have? 4 left. I will do. Firstly, I'll do The Americans. The Americans, I think, is one of the most not slept on. That's an FX show that I think more people should watch because it is an all-time great drama, all-time great spy
Carrie
show.
Russell, right?
Carrie Russell and Reese, not Reese fans, Matthew Reese. It's, I think, a very underappreciated show that more people should watch, and it's all on Hulu. It is like a spy drama about like sleeper cells from Russia and the United States. Great, really like well condensed storyline throughout it. Solid ending. I think you guys would really like it. I will note that in my brain, I'm just not including cartoons in this or anything animated.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
put
doing
2
most
down,
live
but
action.
down looking at them like they're not going to make the cut. The ones I would have done would have been like, I think you would agree, like Avatar: The Last
It would have been
Airbender.
Avatar, yeah.
Justice League Unlimited might have
Mhm.
made it. There's a couple animes I would have thrown in there, but
Yeah.
we're not doing that today.
After The Americans, it gets a little bit harder. I think I'll pick shit. There's 2 I want. I think I'll go with There's not enough episodes of this show for me to fully commit to it. Damn. I'll pick Atlanta. Atlanta. I mean, I wish there was more episodes of it, more body of work to go off of.
Do you like the recent season?
I thought it was solid. Yeah, I think that as a full body of work, Atlanta is one of the. It's very hard to nail down to a genre, which is what I kind of like about it.
Yes,
And it is
FX is so fucking elite.
Yeah. Oh, FX
does not get the credit it deserves. It is literally the more you look at the series they've done, it's very close to being on par with HBO.
They are the only one that can even
very
compete.
close.
They're the only ones that can compete. No other network is even close to HBO other than FX. But I would do Atlanta, and I think that Atlanta is it is a show where it's. I think what's so great about it is the fact that you can't really super nail it down to any genre. It's just a comedy, drama, all this shit.
Someone actually
Great
in our Reddit.
dialogue.
Wait, someone in our Reddit. This is actually earlier this week. Let me see if I can find the post.
Something
Literally
about
was
Atlanta.
just like, what is it?
It's impossible to define.
The question is, what is the show Atlanta? What is it?
It's impossible to nail down into one term. And I do think Atlanta is one of the funniest and just most interesting shows like I've ever seen. And that's like the birth of Brian Tyree Henry, Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, definitely a kingmaker of a series.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz. We interviewed
Zazie
Zazie
Beetz.
for season 4 recently.
The
Great interview.
The Teddy whatever episode where Glover's in whiteface the entire time is one of the funniest episodes of television I've ever watched. It was so fucking creepy.
Triple G, I kind of
So good.
agree, but we'll keep it to live action. We'll just say live action.
You might
for
do
now.
animated on a different time. Well, we could do
Yeah, that would
animation.
make for a good draft is going through animated series because there are again just a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of stuff people haven't watched though. I mean,
Okay.
me and Kid Jack would definitely start talking about anime.
For
which I don't
sure.
think anyone really wants to hear, but all right,
You go
back to
again.
me. Ooh. You know what? I'm actually gonna go back to 2010s. I'm gonna go Mr. Robot. I don't think you would have drafted it, but I have to put it up there because I do think it's fucking amazing.
That show for
Ro-
me redeemed Christian Slater. I never thought he was a good actor ever.
He
thought he
another
stunk.
thing where he's just fucking incredible. I actually like Christian. I like Christian Slater's like early works, like
What the Broken Arrow?
no, like Heathers. I love him in Heathers.
Okay, yeah, he's solid in Heathers.
And
That's
then
fair.
have you ever seen Pump It Up or Pump Up the Volume,
yes,
where he plays like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
radio?
yeah.
I think he's really good in that too. But he disappeared after. I think
He just
did-
was bad.
I think he did some stuff. I think he had some allegations against him.
he was a reporter in Interview with the Vampire, right? Which is so funny because he was wildly outclassed by both Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and a very young Kirsten Dunst, which is insane.
Am I a Community fan? Yes, I am a Community fan. I might take one of these last spots, actually.
Same.
I do love Community. And Dan Harmon. See, Rick and Morty would have been another one where if you did animated series. Fuck, well, I did South Park. So I guess we'll have
That's
to.
all right.
It's more adult.
It's weird. Like, it is an animated show, but it's also not in my head, if that makes sense. Like, it obviously is, but still kind of isn't.
There's some stuff in here where it's like single seasons.
Yeah. I got a lot on mine where I'm just like,
But there's not I wish there was more of a body of work on some of this stuff.
That's another, guess what Rescue Me was on? FX. Great show. That was a Dennis Leary. That's the one thing of Dennis Leary I truly liked. He was really good in it.
These are tough. There's so many series.
A lot of good ones.
And there's stuff where it's like it's got 5 good seasons or 4 good seasons or 3 good seasons and then just falls off a fucking cliff. Like, I'd want to pick Dexter, but 4 good seasons and just 3 just fucking. You want to talk about bad finish. Good Lord, Dexter was fucking terrible.
I'll note this for Roderick. West Wing is one of those shows where, like, I respect the craft.
Not for me.
Not for me at all.
Not for me.
That is a show that I just will.
If Jeff was in here, he would take it 1-1.
Yeah.
He's the biggest West Wing fan I've ever met.
It's just that show's just never been for me. It's I hate
Nathan, for you, I like it a lot. I think there's some misses, and that brand of comedy doesn't always work for me. I actually just watched the rehearsal this past weekend, binged it all in one day, instead of watching I Love My Dad, which we were supposed to watch and then ended up not reviewing. Yeah, I'm not going. Nathan, for you. Fuck.
It's hard.
This gets tough.
I know what I'm doing with my last 2.
I've already done my guilty. Entourage was my guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't go back to guilty pleasures. You know what? Can I just draft season 1 of True Detective?
Season 1 of True Detective? I mean,
I don't
that
want
was
the
an
whole
elite
series.
season of television.
I want it noted. Season 1 of True Detective.
True Detective.
I like Friday Night Lights, Harris. I do like it. And I do like Lost.
No, what did I say? That wasn't knowing football.
Harris, that's quite the allegation. That's
not
quite the
football.
I like Friday Night Lights a lot, but I actually like the movie quite a bit more.
So do I.
And it is a great show, but it's not making my list.
Lost is one of the ultimate shows.
Lost is in my list right now, but I don't think I'm going to draft it.
First 2 seasons of that show, maybe even first 3, completely would have, like, if you stayed at that level, it's an elite show. Really tailed off after that. Big time tailed off.
CML have a ton of those shows written down right now. Smallville's on there, but if we're going best instead of favorite, Smallville's just not making the cut.
Yeah.
Chuck, also great. Love Chuck.
Yeah.
I actually did a rewatch.
Tommy's the number 1 Chuck guy, right?
Tommy rewatches it constantly.
Yeah.
I do like a rewatch every few years. Gossip Girl also, Chris. I love Gossip Girl. I watched the reboot. Not the worst.
I heard it was truly bad.
I heard
the worst.
Things. The acting is pretty fucking rough. Justified's great as a Kentucky person. Obviously, I gotta stand for Justified.
Dude, that show, I just recently started that probably like a couple months ago. It is so good.
Walton Goggins, talk about a guy who came out of nowhere.
Goggins, Nolly Font, and there was a couple other good people on that show too. Damn, really good show though.
Caitlin Devers, actually, I think.
Caitlin Devers is in an episode. Yeah. I saw her and I was like, holy shit, that's fucking Caitlin Devers. It's like I don't have a role that I can say she's no, but like she's
Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Or not Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
She's on that show. So yeah, you're up. You got your last 2.
All right.
No, you got to write down season 1 of True. You have to put it in there because I do not reckon, dude. We interviewed Taylor Kitsch, and like
that season, man,
dude, his season was so fucking bad.
The only thing that was good about it was the couple bits and pieces of Colin Farrell that were very funny.
Vince Vaughn was bad.
Vince Vaughn was awful. That was one of the worst castings I've ever seen. Like how they didn't hit.
There were a lot of issues with that too because the first season was so good, but it was written to only be a one-time thing, and then everyone loved it so much that they made Nick Palazzotto, the guy who wrote the first season. They like asked him to turn.
It's definitely not that, but it's very close.
Yeah, Palazzotto, something like that, and they try to turn it around real quick, and it just didn't fucking work.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you haven't. Are you gonna go dark here?
Yeah, I am going to go dark here.
I was
The first one is going to be
you
dark.
are the biggest dark stand in the world.
I love dark. I think dark pound for pound is not only easily the best show Netflix made, but I think it's arguably the best show of like the last 10 years. It is incredibly.
Did they make it, or did they distribute it?
It's a German show that I believe that they were.
Okay. It's a show I haven't watched.
I'm pretty sure they made it. So, but it's a German show. It is like, imagine in your head if Stranger Things was about adults and was more like, I would say way more interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like really goofy or anything like that. It's like more of like a solid drama, and like the characters in it, absolutely incredible. The acting's insane. The storylines are so complex, but in like a very digestible way. Absolutely, without a doubt, elite show. And I knew I'd get it late because I don't think you've seen it. So I'll just save it.
Let it be. I probably could have waited on Mr. Robot.
Yeah. And then I'll back to back that with my other show that is, in my opinion, very elite, in Black Sails. Black Sails is, to me, Black Sails is another one where it's probably a top 5 show of the past 5 years, if not higher than that. It would be like toe to toe with Dark, in my opinion. It's a show where like I always think of pirates in my brain, like it's a goofball Pirates of the Caribbean thing, and then like I watch this show, which is essentially an incredible sort of like brotherhood drama dressed up with pirate stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's the drama first, but the actual show is insane. Perfect ending to a show, which is also, again, like we said before, so rare. The sort of set designs is like really, really well done, especially considering I think it was a Stars show. Production value was great. The actors were all insanely good. Like, people like you may have never heard of, but like, for example, you've seen what's that superhero show on Netflix? God damn it. I like this show too. I feel like I need it. The one written by Gerard Way.
Oh, that's Umbrella Academy.
So the big dude from Umbrella Academy,
Tom Hopper.
Yeah, he's Billy Bones in Black Sails. They also have like some other characters like Blackbeard. They have John Silver. They have like a couple other characters that, like, you know, from pirate lore. Charles Vane. The guy who plays Charles Vane is insanely good too. But I'll go with Black Sails as my last pick. I think if I were to rate it among my actual list right now, it'd be like the number 2 behind Breaking Bad. Dark would probably be number 1, actually, so bump it even further down. All right, so you get last pick.
Last pick. Ooh, the temptation to pick something bad is
something bad,
but so lovable. Massive, because my brand is liking bad television. I've seen a majority of the CW. I mean, I've seen all of it. So I'm in a real tough spot here.
Mm-hmm. Could do first season of Westworld, like Triple G saying. An elite season of television.
It is a great season. I don't think it's as good as that first season of True Detective.
Fact,
though.
That's very
that
true.
First season of True Detective is so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
This list should have been just 20 CW shows. All right, with my 10th pick, I'm going Stargirl.
Going that one scene from Legends of Tomorrow where the gorilla attacks
Gorilla
Obama.
Zod. General Zod. Or not General
No,
Zod.
it's Gorilla Grodd.
Gorilla Grodd.
How do they have Gorilla Grodd and General Zod in the same canon?
Some comic book writers are not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Fargo's a series I have not seen.
Fargo's really good. I would have had on this if there wasn't, I think, stronger candidates above it. Also, they have weak seasons.
I'm gonna go Californication. No.
Eastbound and Down. Yeah, damn, great ass show. Too short too, though.
Fuck. A show that got cut short. I'm gonna go Deadwood.
Deadwood, yeah. Good movie too.
Great movie. Great show. I think it's one of the best produced and most well acted. In terms of being well made, Deadwood is just a fucking tour de force.
What's his name? Ian McShane, right?
Yeah,
so good.
As Al Swearingen.
Mm-hmm.
Swearinger. Yeah, I love Deadwood. I love Westerns. And so seeing a Western television show in the modern era, you don't get a lot of them anymore. It's not like old days where you had fucking Rawhide and
Bonanza.
Yeah, Bonanza, all that shit on. I really love Deadwood. I wish they hadn't cut it short. Another series, Timothy Oliphant.
Mm-hmm.
Great performances across the board. Really love that show. People are going to bitch at us, and I can already see it coming. They're going to be. Let's think about what is going to be the ones where they
Scrubs. Scrubs. People are very going to be bipolar about, I think.
No, I'm thinking about like what people are going to be mad they got left out. Definitely Better.
Oh, left out. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say among our list.
We're going to get a lot of. I think Better Call Saul because it's so recent. People are going to be mad. Fargo. It's going to be a lot of that.
I think Fargo. I think let me go back to my original list because there's a bunch where I know.
Mad
Men. People are going to get pissed.
I was never big on Mad Men.
I like Mad Men again a lot and I respect it a lot. But like if I'm going to say like Band of Brothers is a limited series, so that doesn't count towards
very much a limited.
Yeah. Mad Men is one where like I respect it a lot, and I wouldn't. But it's hard to put here in my opinion.
Oz is more nice, is it not?
All started in the 90s. I think it ran through the 2000s.
Did it? I've seen in my head it like ended in like 01.
Oz is a very good show though. Like you were just saying before, Barry you could put up here.
See, Barry's
Succession.
another one where I like season 1 a lot more
Mhm.
than I've liked season 2 and season 3.
I think you could put Succession on here based off of what they have so far.
I didn't love the most recent season of Succession,
Neither did I, but
which
those
is what
first two.
kept it from. I would have gone there, but I
Mhm.
did not love the most recent season, and I tried to convince myself it was as good as the first 2 while it was airing, and then you go back and I start thinking about it, I'm like, damn, nothing really fucking happened at all.
And for Tinadus, just to let you know, I would have picked Gamora if we had more room. Gamora is a phenomenal
The
show.
Boys,
It's an Italian
I
one.
disagree with that, Chris. I'm sorry. I enjoy The Boys.
It's not like elite television.
I just don't think it's elite.
Like if we were to do animated series, like I'd just even
I
say
think
the
the
first
writing
Invincible.
is a little weak on The Boys, to be honest. They're about as subtle with their points they're trying to make as like a brick through a window.
It's too early with Mando, I think, to say to
Yeah.
put in here yet.
Yeah, Mando's an interesting pick, actually.
Peaky Blinders, I think, would be one. Yellowstone, Leftovers. Leftovers is one where I'm going to regret not having it on my list for sure.
Yeah, it's a show I haven't watched, so I couldn't pick it.
It is a really damn good show.
With
Sherlock.
Justin Theroux.
Yeah.
How do I feel about Narcos? Great
I like
show.
Narcos.
Great show. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. It's as simple as it gets.
Lost, again, without the later seasons would be up there. Master of None, the first season of Master of None was so goddamn good. But then the second one was pretty good.
People are going to be mad we didn't draft.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Yeah, Peaky Blinders that's one where people are going to get pissed off about.
Sorry, I don't want to watch a show where I have to read subtitles for an English language show.
But it is a great ass show. That is the last season
just
was
kidding.
okay, but like the rest of them are good, are really really good, and they're doing the movie soon too, which is weird because people love that show, but that same writer also made Dad Boat, Serenity, one of the worst
I
movies.
just
you've
love
ever
when
seen.
we've asked people who were part of that
Yeah.
show. Wait, we asked
Jaimin Hansu about it.
No, fucking what's his face?
Oh yeah, the Australian
yeah,
dude.
God, he was-
Jason. No, God damn it, Jason Clark.
Yeah, Jason Clark. You guys asked about it, and he just lost
started
his
laughing.
shit.
He was just laughing, dude.
I'm gonna have to go back and pick up that clip and post it, Jack, because that was so.
The Shield's
You guys
super
just
underrated.
asked it, and he immediately just lost it.
Some other ones.
Another one I wanted to do was Watchmen, one
Yeah.
season, but just I think in terms of superhero television, that's about as good as it gets.
Say what you want. House of Cards, the first few seasons.
Yeah, House of Cards is good.
You know what people are really getting pissed about, and what I'm thinking about it is probably Stranger Things. More like the Stranger Things army is
But
going
the
to come
season
out.
2 and season 3,
They're awful, but like
they're
people
not
are still going to defend
awful,
them.
but they're just mid.
They're people are going to
not
defend it like
great.
crazy.
Especially season 2.
I think if Squid Game season 2 ends up being
another thing
75% as good, like
Did season 1 came out in 2020 though, right?
it's a pretty long time ago, or end of 2020, or was it?
Yeah, I don't think it would have. Oh, I guess. Well, what
It's
could have counted here
2020.
because we did 2000 to present. not
Yeah.
2000. Other ones I had on here, Supernatural. I'm the biggest Supernatural stan.
Yeah.
But just not a well-made television show.
Community, we mentioned before. 30 Rock, Parks and Rec,
Season 2 of Arrow.
Daredevil, Punisher, Schitt's Creek, Sons of Anarchy is one I'll regret too. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Wellington Paranormal.
I don't like Ozark. I don't like.
I'm
the
not an
way-
Ozark guy either.
I don't like the way it's shot. That gray filter really.
that blue-gray. Yeah.
The blue-gray filter really fucking kills me. I'll be honest.
Legion. I know you're
Legion,
guy,
I
right?
wanted to do.
Yeah.
I really did, but as a through line, it's like it's such a weird show where it's like I don't know if it's well written,
Yeah.
but the things they attempt to do are so interesting. It's such an interesting. I'll recommend it to anyone who's willing to like looking for something weird. 'Cause
Explore. Yeah.
what's his name? Noah Hawley. He does just so much interesting stuff on that show.
That's another FX banger. He's a big FX guy.
Yeah.
Mindhunter.
No, Rick and Morty was on my list.
Yeah.
Another show where it's fandom gets shit
I think we'll
on.
do this next time. The
Terrible.
show draft.
Terrible fandom. But Rick and Morty is just fucking. I think it's so funny. I know Joe Ballins is a very big Rick and Morty guy, right?
He likes Rick and Morty a lot. There's another show. So Vikings. The first few seasons of Vikings are really, really good. After that, it does kind of tail
I
off.
wanted to do Mindhunter too, but
Yeah.
it just hurts to even bring up. I can't believe they
Mindhunter.
fucking canceled that show.
It's not even canceled. It's just like he doesn't want to do it anymore because it's like the numbers don't justify the budget they put
That's
into it.
insane to me. It shouldn't have to have numbers
It's
to
wildly
justify
popular.
it. It should just be something where you put it on your streamer to say we have this prestigious of it, like because
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't really have that much like prestige, like that
It's
was
garbage.
there. Like God, that
So-
makes me so mad they're not making more of it.
Rome is one I would have on my list. This is like 10 people have seen it. And I have this, if I have this on my graphic, people are gonna be like, what the fuck is that? And like, but I do think Rome is sneakily very underrated. And that's a show that got great ratings. Everyone liked it and they canceled it because there's just an insane amount of money to make because everything was practical. Like they had these insane huge sets and like they're spending a shit ton of money on it. Peep Show, British Office, The Shield, Patriot on Amazon Prime.
Fuck off with the British Office. Fuck off with the British
It's
Office.
a good. The British Office is
Stop.
good. It's just like it's hard to compare it to the American one.
Stop.
Future Man, that's one of Troballin's favorite shows. The first 2 seasons of Future Man are unbelievably funny.
Shout out Josh Hutcherson,
Yeah.
Kentucky King.
His name is Josh in that, and then like his alternate version name is Juice. Like they don't know what to call him, so they call him Juice. Heels from our good boy Michael Waldron is really good. The Witcher on Netflix. I love The Witcher.
Season 2 was a lot
Mhm.
better than season 1 because season 1 it did the
Yeah.
jump around. I mean, the show got me to read five books in a matter of.
Yeah.
I read them through in about 2 months this summer,
Mhm.
and I'm really excited for the next season. I think it's really good television.
Yeah.
I saw someone the other day bitching about their casting. I was on Reddit and I was like, I think the casting's actually really fucking
It's
good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loki, too early to tell though.
I'm nervous for season 2. I don't know if it's a show that needed a second season.
Righteous Gemstones, which I love. That's a really good show.
Yeah.
Severance, too early to tell. For All Mankind, sneakily very good.
Severance is an interesting.
It's one elite season. That's undeniable. But it's very hard to be like, this is a show that deserves to be on this
When
list.
we interviewed
Adam Scott.
about it, I was like, what the fuck is this Apple
Yeah.
TV show he's pushing? And then it came out and it was out for about 2 weeks. And then I just see people just keep DMing me and keep like asking me if I've watched it. And I was like, what the fuck is this show
Mhm.
actually good? And I sat down, I watched it in probably a day. I think I watched it in a day or two.
It's impossible to put down. It's
it was
so good.
It was so and that's a show I think is going to get better.
Mhm.
It set itself up for some really interesting. It almost in a Westworld kind of way set itself up.
What We Do in the Shadows on FX, great show.
This most recent season was very funny.
Yes.
Very funny with Colin Robinson being
Yes.
a baby Colin Robinson
Yep.
and him going. Have you seen the last episode
Yes.
yet? Yeah, him going through puberty at the very end.
A couple other ones. Warrior, which was a Showtime show, I think, that or something like that they brought onto HBO Max. Incredible show. One of the greatest
Warrior.
martial arts. It's a martial arts show. It's like it takes place in San Francisco, turn of the century, and it's like these Chinese gangs in San Francisco.
Huh.
It's
I don't
got.
even know if I've heard of that.
Do you know Andrew Koji? He was in Bullet
Yes.
Train and all
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
He's the main character in that.
Okay.
And he rocks. It is some of the best fight scenes you'll ever see. And Joe Taslim is in it, who is from the Raid movies, and also he played Scorpion.
It's on what?
HBO Max. That show, if that's one you're looking for one to watch, right? Like ASAP, that's the one to watch. I would recommend that to anyone. It fucking is insane. Great action, great drama, great everything.
I love when you look up. Sorry, I just ate the mic. I love when you look up like series.
Mhm.
Any good series on IMDb, if it doesn't have at least an 8, it's
Mhm.
not good. Like if a
Yeah.
show doesn't have like an 8 on IMDb, then it's probably not that great of
Yeah.
a show. It's funny how like people say they stand by IMDb ratings, but it's like
Mhm.
it really just comes down to fandom. Like the most recent season of Attack on Titan, I think every single episode was like a 9.9 or
Yeah.
10.0 because so many fans were voting on it.
Yeah.
American Horror Story, I don't really like it, American Horror
I'm not
Story,
an
but I'm
HS
not big on
either.
horror, so.
Ted Lasso, people would consider that's too early for me.
I also didn't think the most
So-
recent season was. It was good,
Not on par with the
not
first season.
nearly on par with the first season.
Hacks. I really like both seasons of Hacks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Peacemaker too early, but like that was a great first season.
I need to go back and rewatch Peacemaker.
We did mention Banshee before. Banshee was awesome. That also is from the same.
Not a
person-
show I've watched, but I've heard what's his face is really good in it. Anthony
Anthony
Starr. I
Starr.
heard he's even better in
The
that.
same guy that made Banshee also made Warrior.
Okay,
and Warrior is also a show
Banshee's
that
on
was,
Showtime, right?
Yeah. Well, Banshee's on HBO Max now because they bought those shows.
Okay.
I guess. They what do you call it? It's the same guy, and also Warrior is a show that was invented by Bruce Lee before he died. He never got to do it, and now Bruce Lee's daughter is like an executive producer on it. Really good show. So yeah, Peacemaker Minx I think is really good first season. Umbrella Academy I really like as well. But yeah, that's the big list I think. But all these shows have been great. I think our teams are solid. I laughed so much during Peacemaker as well.
Dexter was on my list, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because it's a show where it's so much worse. It's so much more offensive than Game of Thrones in the way it ended.
Yeah,
The final season was like the final 2 seasons were just offensive.
Truly bad. Truly bad.
When he starts hooking up with his sister,
yeah,
and then he's with, I'm upset they even put what's her face in it, the blonde girl. She deserved better than that. Everyone involved with that show deserved better.
How do you have time to watch these shows? Do you think we're getting pussy or something? Like, what do you think? What do you think is happening on our off time from work? Like,
dude,
they think we're like going out, getting chicks or something.
I have 3 screens on my desk. One's for, we both have little TVs now.
Yeah.
I usually put a show on while I'm working.
Trailer Park Boys could be up there too. That's true.
And I watched a lot of shows when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
So
that's our list.
Yvonne Strahovski. Yeah.
I think we have really good teams, both of us. I'm interested to see how this graphic plays out. But
Rings of Power is under 40%.
That's bonkers.
And people were like, "Oh, dude, I don't know why you're saying it's getting review bombed." It's like, shut the fuck up.
You know why?
Come on.
You know
the bell curve on those ratings it's going both ways. It's like there's no rating. Nobody's giving it a 6 out of 10. There's no ratings that are like 6 or 7 out of 10. It's all like 10 out of 10 and then a million 1 out of 10.
But yeah, I think we have both had good teams. This will be an interesting graphic when you put it up.
This is gonna get a lot of comments.
Yes.
I love my picks, but like there's just gonna be a ton of like, oh no,
you didn't pick this, you didn't pick that. It's the ultimate thing. When I put up this graphic, the same thing happened. Remember that? Like you got like 9,000 comments on it being like,
I can't wait.
Oh fuck, you didn't include like this bottom tier FX show or whatever it is, or like some TBS, or like, why didn't you include Burn Notice or
if you're
Good
watching,
Doctor?
If you're watching right now, like let's tell the whole stream. I don't know how many people are, 46 people in here. If you're watching this, when I post this graphic on Instagram, let's tell them to all comment like one show. Be like, why the fuck isn't
what is a singular show that would be?
What would be like a bad show?
Like not Big Bang. What's a disappointing one? Wheel of Time.
Just a really random one. I'm trying to think of like, why isn't Fosse Verdon on here?
Why isn't like Las Vegas on here? What's like one of those like USA TBS ones?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Worst. It was like one of those truly terrible ones. There's so many of them where like I tried a season of it and it was just
everyone. If you're watching this right now, when I post the graphic, be like, where the fuck is Suits?
Yeah, that would be good.
Say where's Suits?
Mm-hmm.
The USA TV show or White Collar, one of the two. Just pick a USA TV show and just comment it because none of them deserve to be on this list. Oh wait, Mr. Robot's on here. USA, but like just pick a bad USA TV show and just comment on it on IG. I just want to fuck with the comment section.
What was that one where it was Jim Caviezel and the dude from Lost?
Jane the Virgin.
Person of Interest? Jane the Virgin, yeah.
Last Man Standing might have deserved to be on
He
this
should have
list.
been on the list. And 6 Feet Under too also could have been up there.
We discussed Lost.
We discussed
you go back, but yeah, no, we both like Lost. Another show that just didn't fit. It kind of fizzled out.
Okay, so we'll be back next week with a different draft. I think 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna have a Chargers defensive tackle, Braden Fehoko, on, and we're gonna do a draft of NBA starting 5. I think I'm gonna get Mincy on because Fajoko's an LSU grad. He went to he was on the championship team.
Number 1 LSU fan, Mincy.
So I think we're gonna have Mincy and maybe PFT commenter on for that as well. But that'll be a fun one. Fajoko's a super funny dude. Very hot takes. Very like scolding hot takes. That'll be an interesting one. But until then, we'll see you next Friday. Make sure to listen to our
make sure to subscribe
for YouTube and go watch our episode when it comes out on Tuesday. Until then, see you guys next week.